Char Dham Yatra, or the pilgrimage of the four holy sites, Yamunotri, Gangotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath, is now fully open. Nestled high up in the Himalayas in the Indian state of Uttarakhand, the circuit is one of the most popular and sacred pilgrimage journeys in India. It is believed that visiting the four holy shrines washes away all sins and leads to salvation. This year, the Yatra began on the 19th of April with the door opening ceremony at the Yamunotri Dham. Kedarnath opened on 22nd and Badrinath on 23rd. The doors of these holy sites this year are expected to shut in the second week of November with the onset of winter. Hello and welcome. This is Inside South Asia. I am Kripa. Let's get started. 21st of April 2019. Sri Lanka was shaken by a series of coordinated suicide bombings that targeted Easter Sunday worshippers and civilians. At least 269 people dead, more than 500 injured. 3 churches and 3 luxury hotels, Shangri-La, Cinnamon Grand and Kingsbury across capital Colombo and other parts of the country were targeted in the coordinated suicide bombings. 7 years later, the nation continues to mark the anniversary in somber reflection. The survivors still bearing scars, both physical and emotional. The misery and grief of the survivors has been compounded by the endless wait for justice, a burden heavy on the heart. On this solemn anniversary, our next story explores the apathy of the successive governments and the long, painful wait for justice and accountability that continues to weigh on the lives of the survivors and their families. Take a look.
Easter Sunday arrives each year as a beacon of resurrection and renewal for Catholics around the world. It is a day when churches fill with prayers of hope and hymns of triumph, marking Jesus Christ's victory over death. 7 years ago, on a Easter Sunday, Sri Lanka witnessed one of the deadliest acts of violence in its modern history. An attack that still casts a long and painful shadow over survivors and families of victims. On April 21, 2019, churches across Sri Lanka were filled with worshippers who had gathered for Easter Mass. Hotels in Colombo were bustling with guests during a period of holiday revelry. Within hours, it all changed for the worse as coordinated suicide bombings targeted 3 churches and 3 luxury hotels in near simultaneous strikes. The blasts killed at least 260 people on the spot and wounded over 500, including 45 foreigners from a dozen countries. The deadliest attack took place at the St. Sebastian's Church in Negombo, where 117 Catholics were killed and many others were injured. Eyewitnesses recall a somber moment of prayer being cruelly interrupted by an explosion that tore through the congregation.
Look at how we are today. We are sick. No matter what we receive, it cannot change that. I was a very healthy person. I was 60 years old when this happened, and I could do any work or chore. Now, when I think about that time, it's truly sad. As we get older, we may not be able to do as much, but at this age, one should still be able to do something. Now, because of this tragedy, I am sick forever.
The church Catholics had attended for decades stood in ruins, its walls marked with shrapnel and its pews twisted. For the survivors and the families of the victims, the arrival of Easter each year brings with it painful memories. It's a painful reminder of what the day used to mean and what the blast took away. In Colombo, St. Anthony's Shrine in Kochikade was hit by a blast that killed 51 Catholics. One family buried 3 young children, leaving parents with merely photos, empty bedrooms, and a lifetime of grief. Across the country, mothers still light candles for sons and daughters, some of whom would have turned teenagers by now. In the subsequent years, Sri Lanka has seen 3 different governments. Each came to power promising progress, security reforms, and in some cases a renewed investigation into the bombings. Yet, for all the speeches and commissions, no one has been convicted.
So, at the end of the 7th year, what do I say? I say we are still hoping and waiting and expecting. If nothing happens within the period of 1 or 2 years at least, I can understand that these things take time and they need to go through certain formalities. But if nothing happens, then we will be forced to get onto the streets.
Initial inquiries into the bombings pointed to local Islamists linked to the Islamic State group. But as investigation progressed, attention shifted towards possible failures despite alerts and alleged complicity within parts of the state security apparatus. Reportedly, Indian intelligence officials had warned Colombo of a possible attack more than 2 weeks earlier. The suggestion that the tragedy may have been preventable or politically exploited has only deepened public mistrust of the state. In February, retired Major General Suresh Saleh, former head of Sri Lanka's State Intelligence Service, was taken into custody for questioning. Under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, he faces charges of conspiracy and aiding and abetting the Easter Sunday attacks. But is it enough for Sri Lanka's Catholic community, for whom the Easter Sunday bombings is a painful memory forever etched onto their conscience? Every step along the street that witnessed deadly violence on that fateful day and every moment spent kneeling at graves of loved ones is a moment of unimaginable grief. 7 years on, as the grieving families still wait for answers and continue their search for justice, the government owes the victims more than empty speeches.
The Indian states of Tamil Nadu and West Bengal went to the polls on April 23rd. The elections in West Bengal are being conducted in 2 phases. The second phase will be on April 29, and the counting of these elections is all set for the 4th of May.
Casting my vote has been my biggest democratic right, and I think this matters a lot to me as a citizen of the country.
Nice to feel that I'm doing this for my state. So hoping that there will be a lot of development for Tamil Nadu.
The arrangements are fine. This year's vote is even more important after the special intensive revision, so arrangements are fine. I got through with voting in the morning itself.
It's been 1 year since the 2025 Pahalgam terror attack. 26 lives lost in a place once known for peace and beauty. We visit Pahalgam and tell you what has changed after 1 year.
1 year after the devastating terror attack in Pahalgam that left this scenic valley deserted, the famous tourist destination is witnessing a strong return of visitors. A clear sign of resilience and renewed confidence in the region. Let's revisit Pahalgam to understand what has changed in a year.
The tourism sector is finally on road to recovery in the Kashmir Valley after the Pahalgam terror attack last year. The tourism had a massive hit and there was no tourism in the Kashmir Valley after that. Pahalgam, where we are standing right now, had turned into a ghost town. But slowly, with confidence building measures from the government and security agencies, what we see on the ground is that hundreds and thousands of tourists have arrived in the Kashmir Valley as well as in Pahalgam, where we are standing right now. Let me tell you that around 4 lakh visitors visited the Tulip Garden, which was opened all through the last month in Srinagar city. Majority of the visitors were tourists from different parts of the country. And here also in Pahalgam, what we see on the ground is that the number of domestic tourists coming to Pahalgam as well have increased in huge numbers. The tourism department also making sure that these tourists who are coming to Kashmir Valley feel secure, and that's why we are seeing the number of security personnel on the ground have been increased. There have been new measures that have been taken place by the administration to make sure that whoever comes to Kashmir, and especially to Pahalgam, feels secure.
Tourists visiting Pahalgam now speak of a strong sense of security. A visible presence of security personnel across key locations has helped restore confidence. For many, the atmosphere has shifted from fear to reassurance.
I don't want to remember those fears anymore. Now that I'm here, I'm enjoying myself and feeling great. The fear I had before coming has completely disappeared. Thanks to the Indian Army and the local people, they are very supportive. The environment is not fearful at all, and the presence of the Indian Army gives us confidence.
जब हम आए तब डर लग रहा था कि पिछले साल
While coming here, we were afraid that something like last year might happen again. But on the way, we saw a strong presence of army personnel and our fear disappeared. Security is tight and everything seems to be fine here.
To further strengthen security, the administration has introduced QR code-based tracking measures. These codes are assigned to taxi drivers, shopkeepers, hotel staff, and tourist guides. They allow visitors to verify identities and ensure services are provided by verified individuals.
We feel more secure since the introduction of these QR codes. As they are police verified, the chances of being scammed are minimal and everything is under surveillance. This is a crucial step toward enhancing safety in the area. Tourists will feel less afraid and more encouraged to visit. Overall, this initiative benefits both the people of Pahalgam and visitors coming from different parts of India.
ये बिल्कुल एक अच्छा कदम है जो अभी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ने उठाया है। ये एक हर उस इंसान के
This is a very positive step taken by the administration. Everyone connected to the tourism sector, pony handlers, shawl sellers, hotel staff and cab drivers should have QR identification. We believe this is a crucial step as it makes tourists feel more secure.
या होटल वाले के पास देखता है, obviously उसको अपने आप में वो एक secureness feel करता है.
In Afghanistan, hundreds of civilians were killed along the border and elsewhere in the country in bombings by Pakistan before China brokered talks largely halted fighting. Afghan border villages bore the brunt of waves of airstrikes, which forced families to flee in search of safety. Besides the scale of displacement, a major concern has been the quiet unraveling of something far more fundamental: education. The lives of thousands of Afghan children caught in the crossfire has been upended, and they have been deprived of their basic right to education as a direct consequence of these merciless bombings. Our next report takes you to eastern Afghanistan, where families are struggling to cope with displacement and where determined efforts are underway to keep learning alive despite major obstacles.
Literacy is often described as a bridge from misery to hope, a cornerstone of human development. It provides an opportunity to build a better life through learning and works as a bulwark against poverty. But for children caught in the crossfire of war, that promise can feel distant, almost out of reach. And nowhere is that more painfully visible than in the Afghan border regions, where a bitter conflict with Pakistan has disrupted the lives of thousands. Schools in the Afghan border villages have been smashed by shells, and their playgrounds sit deserted today. In the rugged northeastern Kunar province of Afghanistan, the dream of education today lays shattered. In the border village of Barikot, the local school bears the scars of relentless shelling. The decimated site welcomed pupils from primary through high school, but Pakistani fire caused extensive damage, silencing its halls. Dust-covered books litter the floor, outdated schedules cling to bullet-marked walls, a poignant freeze frame of interrupted lives.
They are my students, and as a manager of the school, it makes me cry. Those students who were busy with their studies, lessons and taking courses were involved in education, but today they are deprived of that, and they are roaming here in dirt and sand. They are completely deprived of education here. This is their life here, in tents. There's no arrangement for education here.
The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs reports that this school is one of the 22 in northeastern Kunar in desperate need of reconstruction. Nearly all of Barikot's 8,000 residents fled when clashes erupted in late February. The displaced have now clustered along the banks of the Kunar River, sheltering in makeshift tents pieced together from UN tarpaulins, Hessian sacks, and plastic scraps. Even fetching potable water from the nearest well requires more than an hour's trek.
The Pakistani forces fired as much as they could at ordinary people. They shelled our mosques and our schools, and they destroyed our mosques, schools and homes. That is why we became displaced and came here.
According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, about 12,000 students displaced or affected by the war need safe spaces to continue learning or to catch up on classes in Afghanistan. But the system is already overburdened. Schools in the nearby villages, such as Marawara, and in the provincial capital, Asadabad, are operating beyond capacity. Volunteer teachers run outdoor sessions under tarps, imparting displaced children education in basic math and Pashto. Meanwhile, provincial authorities are scrambling for solutions, including relocating families to more organized camps set up last year for earthquake survivors.
As the result of conflict between Afghanistan and Pakistan, we see over 94,000 Afghans who were living along the border side had to leave their areas of origin and houses and move inside Afghanistan, and they have become displaced.
The Afghan-Pakistan border, marked by the 1893 Durand Line, has simmered for over a century now. Islamabad accuses Kabul of harboring militants from the Pakistani Taliban, a claim repeatedly denied by Kabul. Amid this blame game, the innocent children have had to pay the biggest price. In the border regions of Afghanistan, the proverbial literacy's bridge isn't just damaged, it's been dynamited, stranding thousands of innocents on the misery side.
In the heart of India's capital, New Delhi, the ancient Mughal tradition of pigeon rearing is being kept alive, despite the obvious odds, by a handful of passionate men. It takes as many as 4 grueling months to train these birds to navigate long distances. But for these enterprising men, this tradition and the associated peculiar skill set, which they have inherited from their forefathers and intend to pass on to the next generation, is a labor of love. More in our next story.
ancient art of Kabootarbaazi, a term which loosely translates to pigeon rearing, was patronized by Mughal kings who ruled India, beginning in the 1500s. In the heydays of Mughal era, it was favored by the rulers as a medium of communication with their aristocracy. Such was its popularity that every nobleman had a kabootarkhana, or home for pigeons, in his house. Rearing and training flock of pigeons to fly in formation used to be a favorite pastime of men. Today, though, the ancient art has dwindled, the sight of flocks of pigeons soaring across the skyline, as the call of their keepers remains a constant. These passionate men guide their flock through dense neighborhoods and bustling markets with patience and precision.
Pigeon rearing is a passion. Just like you love someone, I love doing this. I have been doing this for so many years. I used to see my grandfather do it, and I have been interested ever since. Now I have my master, Ustad Akhtar, whom I watch and learn from.
Training of pigeons involves complex techniques like beating a whip against a hard surface. Loud cracking sounds scare the birds into flying farther out before they learn to fly straight against the wind and return over long distances.
In the beginning, there were no pigeons on our terrace, so we bring new ones here. After bringing them, we install a net so they can familiarize themselves with our terrace. Pigeons have strong eyesight and can recognize their own roof. Then we give them certain medicines so they forget the old roof they came from.
The age-old tradition is under threat due to rapid urbanization and local complaints. But for these enthusiastic men who keep and train them, the glorious sight of pigeons circling above the rooftops is a matter of pure joy. Not to mention the thrill of winning in this popular winter folk sport.
Pigeon rearing is a passion, just like carom, chess or cricket. It is very competitive. If I am a good player and my opponent is not, or vice versa, I will always try to be better than him.
Will the ancient art of Kabootarbaazi survive in the hustle and bustle of our overcrowded cities? On the face of it, there isn't much chance, but then again, for a handful of passionate men, the 500-year-old tradition is a deeply personal one, and they aren't quitting anytime soon.
And as we wrap up, big news from India for the upcoming Cannes Film Festival next month. All we imagine as light director and Golden Globe nominee Pahalgam will be the president of the jury for the 65th Cannes Critics Week, which runs parallel to the main festival. Kapadia, who became the first Indian filmmaker to win the Grand Prix award at the Cannes Film Festival in 2024, will lead a panel of international jury members. Take a look, and I will see you next week.